Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well today. And it's time for another one of these, another Mariners video. I know that you may have come here expecting another draft-related video, the positional big board video for, I think it would be the edge rushers. That's going to be uploaded in a few hours. Come back around 4 o'clock Pacific. It'll be going up around then. I just want to get this video out now because it's the 20-game milestone check-in, and the Mariners have they have a game in about half an hour, so I don't want that video to go up after the 21st game has started. So we're just going to do it now. We're going to get the video up now and just kind of get a feel for how things are going 20 games into the 2024 Seattle Mariners season. And I'll tell you, just off the bump, good thing we're doing this video now. Good thing I am posting this video now and not like 5 days ago, not even a week ago, because things were bad. The vibes were not even on the floor. They were through the floor. Things were awful. Things were atrocious. Things were miserable. And right now, things are feeling a little bit more manageable because we've gone on that 4-game win streak. We beat a pretty good team 3 times, or at least a team that so far looks fairly good, the Reds. So it feels very different now. And we're also starting to learn that this division that we're in may not be any good. So it's starting to feel a little bit more optimistic around here. But at the same time, I can't completely separate myself from the fact that 5 days ago, it looked like the world was ending. It looked like people were getting fired. It looked like people were starting to really hit a steep decline in their careers. It was looking like things weren't getting better. It was rough. And that is part of the last 10 games. So I'm not going to act like everything's great. Believe me, everything is not great. There is a universe where this team doesn't have multiple key players getting off to atrocious starts to the 2024 season, and they have a non-trivial lead in the division right now instead of being tied for the division lead. But things feel better now, so that's cool. But talking about the 2024 Seattle Mariners so far, I mean, look, things are definitely looking better right now. Cal has come alive. Cal has really come alive. He had a great game yesterday, 4 hits. Really starting to come into his own, and he's playing elite defensive baseball. So you put it all together, he might be our best player so far this year. And I, of course, am a big fan of Cal, and I think he's a really good player that I'm already preemptively sad for probably losing him in the coming years. But I certainly didn't expect him to be our best player through the first 20 games of the season. But his defensive prowess combined with what he's doing at the plate now has been a little bit of a lifesaver. He's got a 149 ops plus, hitting for a little bit of power now. He's really been, especially you have to remember he's a catcher and he's played 17 games because our backup catcher situation is a complete disaster, like an absolute train wreck, and something that looks like was a very clear and obvious mistake made by the team this offseason. So he's having to carry way more of the load than he should, and he's making it work. The rest, it's just all starting to it's starting to come together. Over the last few games, it's starting to slot up in a way that is at least giving us something to feel good about. France continues to play fairly well. He's not the power hitting metronome that he was a couple years ago. And when I say power, I don't mean home runs. I mean like doubles and stuff like that, hitting it into the corner, Edgar Martinez type power. But he is hitting, he is getting on base at a fairly good rate, and it does seem like he's at least a positive player on this team right now. Julio, it's been hard to watch these at-bats, admittedly, and we're not past it yet. But at the same time, he's obviously starting to get back on track. He's obviously starting to feel a little more comfortable at the plate. It's going to be a slow process, but we're starting to get there. We're still getting good things out of Haniger. Although, I'm just going to say it right now, we need to start giving that guy some days off. This is starting to get silly. Mitch Haniger is not going to be able to keep this up if you play him in every game. And we have played him in almost every game so far this year. He has missed one game so far this year. Not okay. We have players on this team that should be able to be adequate in a platoon role with Haniger. Haniger should be playing 4 to 5 games a week. Do something. But he's been playing really well so far, and I can understand that we want to ride him a little bit because the offense was so anemic for a while there. But something's got to be done there. You've got Rojas, who continues to play really well, shockingly well. I don't know where this came from, but if this is something, if Rojas keeps this up, he's one of the best 9-hole hitters I've ever seen this team have. So that's been a lifesaver during these early season stretches. Garver slowly starting to turn into something playable. Slowly being the emphatic word there, but we are starting to see some better at-bats from him. And it feels like things are just slowly starting to warm up. We're seeing Polanco start to do a little bit more. I know he's not there yet, but he's hitting for a little bit of power. You're starting to see some of the stuff that makes him an appealing baseball player. And it feels like something good is about to happen. I'm going to put it to you like that. It feels like something good's about to happen. The only guy who feels like a little bit of a dead end right now, who plays pretty much every day, is Crawford. I don't know what's going on there. There is a little bit of bad luck going on here, and I'm not saying I'm giving up on Crawford. I know he's a good player, but there's just been so little good happening with his at-bats, it feels like. He is swinging a pool noodle 90% of the time, and it's hard to watch because he was such a crucial part of the team the last couple years. Obviously, the Canzone thing is, we'll see where that goes. We'll see what happens when he gets back. He was playing well before he got hurt. Clace has been a spark plug, and I know there's going to be a lot of desire to keep him where he is, but realistically, this is not going to last. Shout out to him for doing what he's doing and really providing at least something tenable while we're dealing with this injury. I don't know what to say about the Luke Raley thing. I know that the numbers are ugly, but there's every reason to believe that Luke Raley is a good player who is capable of providing quality things to a baseball team, and we don't play him. We traded for him. We built a roster where he very clearly had a role he could play, and he never plays. And how do you expect him to do anything when he plays once a week at best? So, got to try to figure that out. Got to get Luke Raley out there. If he's going to be on the team, then he should be doing something for this team more than just being a complete replacement player. Because that's what he is right now. He's a replacement guy. You could swap Luke Raley out for any utility player that the Mariners have ever had, and what's the difference? And Luke Raley is better than that. You should be giving some of Mitch Haniger's reps to Luke Raley, either directly or indirectly. I don't know why that hasn't happened yet. I understand that maybe they were riding Haniger early because the offense was dead, but we're getting past that now. People are starting to wake up. You can afford to not play Haniger so often, and Raley's a big part of that. And Demo's starting to fall back to earth. Still a valuable player, though. So that's basically the offense. It's a scattered mess right now. I mean, it's really hard to talk about in one video, right? Because you had the first 15 games where it was just miserable, and they looked like the worst offense in the league, and everything was just brutal. Like, Rojas was the only player who was really playing well, and maybe Canzone. But then you have what's happened over the last several games where we've seen some life. Things have gotten a little bit better. Things are starting to fall into place. Starting to get the sense that something good's about to happen. That's the way I would put it. But those two things are in contradiction to each other, right? So, I mean, big picture, the offense is still bad. Like, this is a bad offense. But there is reason to believe that things are about to kick into another gear. Maybe not this week because we're playing Texas in Texas, and their lineup is really, their rotation is really bad for our offense because of all the lefties. But it feels like things are starting to shift into a better place. I will say that. So that's the batting. Up, down, left, right, all over the place. I mean, pitching's not really that much better. The only consistent has been Bryce Miller, who has been incredible. Remarkable start to the year from Bryce Miller. I was somebody who would have been okay if we traded him in the offseason for hitting, but it's looking like a very good thing that we didn't, because not only has he been our best pitcher, he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball. And it's not sustainable like this, but maybe it's sustainable that he's a really good starting pitcher in this league. I I feel like the sky's the limit with him right now, and I am really happy that he's still here. And with what happened with Wu this offseason, we definitely need it. Um, the rest, obviously, Castillo made us all feel better yesterday. I mean, it's all about the one really crappy inning, right? With Castillo, it's the one terrible inning that he needs to avoid. And, people are posting all the stuff on X about how, oh, he's awful when it's cold, but the warmer it gets, the better he gets. So you would expect that to get better. It doesn't look like he's lost his ability to pitch. It just looks like he's had some bad games to start the season. So I'm not going to stomp down on the panic button yet. But obviously, watching him pitch like this over the first few games has been, I mean, it's been really concerning because we cannot survive without him. And then you got Gilbert doing his thing, pitching really good. Actually, looks like the guy who may end up being our true ace this year. I don't think it'll hold, but he's looking phenomenal. Kirby, looking for him to get back on track in a little bit today. And I'm not here to hold anything against Hancock. He's not very good, but he shouldn't be in the rotation. He's only here because people are hurt. Wu will get back, and we won't have to worry about this anymore. Bullpen, Munoz had the one, it was a non-save opportunity. Maybe that was the problem, where he completely lost his mind. But other than that, he's been good. Thornton has been remarkable. Spear has been great. Saucedo's been good. I like what Stanek is bringing. I know that he's had a couple of bad moments, some moments where he's lost control. He's given up some stuff. But Stanek actually has nastier stuff than I thought. And I think he'll end up being a pretty good part of this bullpen. So we are still waiting on some of our guys to get back. We are still waiting on Brash, just as an example. So the fact that this bullpen is held together as well as it has, and other than maybe the Munoz against Toronto kerfluffle, I don't think this bullpen's really cost us any games. Not really anyway, right? Even if on a technical level they did, I don't feel like they're to blame specifically for anything. That's really good. So once again, the Mariners bullpen is fine. I don't think it's as good as some previous Mariners bullpens from the last few years, but it's fine. And the only thing about this team that I feel really solidly down on is the defense when it comes to the infield, because I don't think there's any way we're going to get plus defense from that third base spot this year. And I don't think there's anything we can do to mitigate that. It's not going to be very good over there most of the time. It can be maybe manageable most of the time, but there's going to be bad moments. Other than that, I'm not feeling too down about anything right now. Castillo could recover and have a monster rest of the season as it warms up. Gilbert and Kirby could be deadly in the middle of that rotation. Miller could, I mean, obviously he's not going to keep pitching like this. That's almost impossible, but he could be a remarkably good number 4. Wu could get back and be miles better than Hancock's been. The bull, I think that's all possible. I think the offense really getting on track is possible. When you think about how we've gotten basically nothing from Garver, very little from Julio, and Crawford will eventually wake up. Like, I can feel all these positive things are on the table. I'm not saying they will happen, but I'm still feeling relatively okay with it at the moment. So I feel like I just got to see more games, and that's how I think everybody should be when it comes to this team right now. All right. See you guys later. Go Mariners.